What is emerging for you now in your understanding of these things?
Well, I guess one way of describing my changing sensibilities is to talk about my own personal journey, which I think is common to a lot of us. And that is, I think a lot of us a few decades ago or more recently realized when we started looking for something deeper in our lives and deeper in our culture, that there was a lot missing here, that there didn't seem to be much in the way of wisdom in our culture. And as a point of fact, the topic had actually dropped out of the cultural conversation 2 or 3 centuries ago with the rise of science. But it wasn't only that wisdom wasn't talked about, it was that our own wisdom traditions and the great religions that we grew up with, the tradition, specifically the Western monotheisms, it seemed like there was something missing. And so a lot of us, myself included, took a journey to the East to explore the traditions of India and China. Myself, I went to Burma and India, spent time there in monasteries and meditation centers, and was extremely impressed by what I found. Really felt that these were living wisdom traditions, that they had not only a reservoir of wisdom, but a variety of technologies and practices for the cultivation of both states of consciousness and insights and virtues that I just hadn't found in our own culture. And for me, there was a moment of blinding insight into what if should have been obvious, but of course wasn't, that at the heart of the great religious traditions, hidden behind the conventional institutions and their rituals, were mystical disciplines, contemplative practices for the cultivation of the same states of mind and qualities of heart and mind that the great contemplatives had discovered over the centuries, in which great sages had initiated these religious traditions. And it was possible for us to cultivate our minds and develop some of the same virtues and insights and capacities that these sages had discovered. So that was a mind-blowing recognition. And then there was a very interesting next phase, which relates to your question of how I see East and West these days. And when I came back to my own culture and started looking at my own Western monotheisms and Western philosophies, I found I was now able to appreciate some of the wisdom and depth and insights that were hidden in these traditions. They weren't as front and center as in some of the Asian traditions, but they were definitely there. There was extraordinary wisdom and wonderful practices in Christianity and Islam and Judaism. They just had been more hidden or not so much a central part of our cultural conversation. So for me, it was just wonderful to have this recognition that each of the great traditions had a reservoir of both insights and understandings of human potentials, of virtues, and practices to cultivate them. So that was a life changer for me, and I think for a lot of us.